Abraham Lincoln once said that there is no honorable way to kill, no gentle way to destroy. There is nothing good in war except its ending. This is a story of a soldier who pledged his allegiance to serve his country with honor, only to be impeded by another's personal interest. It's time. Duty calls. Egan is a major in the Nigerian army, and sometimes these men just want to leave without saying goodbye. Maybe they just can't withstand their spouse's barrage of choosing to serve the country as a countryman over their needs as a husband. And as a soldier's wife, staying hyper-vigilant becomes a nature. Labari was already mad that he was leaving without a word. She wouldn't listen to him and walked away only to find Colonel Bello waiting. The happily wedded couple were just barely a week into their marriage, and her husband had been ordered to the battlefield. Can we say that this is normal in the military code, and a soldier can be called upon any time, or is there more to it? Colonel Bello tried to calm her down and told her that all her husband needs right now are words of encouragement. All Labari wants now is a promise that he will come back to her while she waits. Only if you understand what these soldiers' wives pass through. This is the Wast's Republic in Bosangwa, where death looks like the norm in everyday life. Angela and Regina also came for what they could get from the raid between the Jungle Boys and soldiers who came for peacekeeping. Regina stumbled over one of the men, and they found out that he's alive. Angela wanted them to go, but Regina was not just compassionate as a lady, but also a medical personnel. But what is she up to now? Let's talk about real life in the jungle. Bossman is the #1 man in Bosangwa. 15 of his men died in the battle, and he's not happy about it. Ghetto is his right-hand man. He knows he has failed his boss, but Bossman smells rat inside his hole, and he spares no traitor in his cabal. Ghetto is a loyal servant and messenger to his master, but he also loves to display his power as the second in command. Edwin and his friend were playing football when he frightened the boys by opening fire. Everyone was even more scared of him than Bossman himself, but not Regina. Ghetto finally dropped the message he brought from Bossman to report to his camp. Nobody refuses Bossman's call. Bossman wants her to treat his men who sustained injuries from the last fight. Even though Regina doesn't like the fact that he uses innocent young boys to fight for his own gains, she has no choice than to attend to his wounded men. Regina came home tired to find her brother waiting for her. He knows that Bossman likes his sister, and he knows that one day Bossman might force his way on her. He wants them to run away. Regina thinks it's a bad idea. They have a sick man inside, and she wouldn't leave him to die. Fortunately, it was Egan, who Regina and Angela found almost dead, and helped him. But how did he die? He was on patrol with a colleague on night duty where a family were all killed when he was shot and brought out to where the Samaritans found him to avoid traces. Egan was pronounced dead by the Nigerian army after missing for days. Labari was on her way out in tears when Colonel Bello stopped her. He was like a godfather to her and her late husband and promised to protect her. Finally, Egan was awake but was in amnesia. He was already giving up because he never remembered anything, but Regina made sure that he stays positive and shouldn't give up. Angela came in to find out the reason why her friend had become so distant these days. She was already falling for the distressed soldier. Regina took him to her favorite place at the stream to aid his recovery. She was also beginning to feel the connections, but Angela wouldn't allow that to happen. But why do men easily come between two best friends who are ladies rather than the other way round? Regina's mood was already ruined. Edwin was already seeing the closeness his sister has with the stranger. He will do anything to protect his sister. Egan promised not to hurt his sister, and at that moment, they became friends. Meanwhile, Labari's godfather kept surprising her with impromptu visits. He wanted to know how she was doing. This time, he gave a mammoth amount of money to take care of herself. He also wanted her to quit calling him sir, and you know what that means. Ori, her best friend, walked in while the colonel was about to leave. She suspected something was fishing, but Labari was way too ignorant to see what was coming. Aegon now feels comfortable coming to the stream alone to rekindle. You can't take away the natural habits of a soldier. Angela has always had her eyes on him secretly. They were talking when Regina came looking for him. She really now hates her friend while she angrily walks out. Aegon wouldn't want to fail the lady who took him in at the point of death. She then angrily left when he chose her friend over her. That night, they were having a good time together when something unusual happened. Bossman barely goes to see people. Rather, people were brought to his cabal. This means that Regina is special to him and will kill anyone who stood as a resistance. He already got the information about Regina's lover and almost amputated him. She then told Bossman that they were siblings just to save him. And after much pleading, he freed Aegon but kept his watch on them. Aegon's connection with her grew stronger because she saved his life as Regina fell in love with him for his bravery. Bossman found out later that she lied with the pendant, so who then was feeding him the information? Aegon and Edwin knew there was trouble when they saw Ghetto. Aegon somehow distracted them with his military skills while he took Ghetto unaware, and he ran for his life. Aegon failed to use his military skills this time around as he failed to watch before entering. He was tied to a chair while he watched his lover raped by Bossman. Sometimes a man's death can be delayed. It's left for him to take his chances and survive. Bossman gave him a gun to kill himself and he took his chances. It got into a fierce contest between the two deadly men as Bossman was almost killed, but he escaped. Regina wasn't happy with what she just saw. She gave him the pendant. Aegon just recalled everything. He was honest enough to open up that he is married. Regina was very upset and wanted him to leave. It's time for Aegon to go back to his family. Edwin knows how much he was going to miss him. He also gave Regina his contact should in case of anything. Aegon remembered his apartment in the soldiers' quarters to find a stranger in his house. It resulted into some sort of a quarrel that got the attention of others. One of the soldiers could identify him. He gave Aegon every detail he needed to know and asked him to contact Colonel Bello for his wife's whereabouts. Regina missed him. Angela felt pity for her friend and also had a confession to make. She has been the one feeding Bossman the information he had when he came to attack them. Regina had to forgive her friend. Angela thinks she should go and look for the man she loves if she truly wants to see him again. Colonel Bello was surprised to see Aegon alive when he came out to know the noise was about. He narrated his every ordeal at the battlefield to his godfather. The colonel told him that his wife now stays in one of his quarters, but she is currently away for a job interview and will be back in 2 days' time. He gave him her number and also some cash, while he assured him that everything will be fine. But something happened when Aegon left. Colonel Bello was restless and had to put through a call to one of his boys to meet with him at the usual place. Sergeant Dave happened to be in Bosangwa when Aegon was presumed dead. He almost strangled him and gave him the address to complete the job. But what job? If only Aegon knew that his godfather wanted him dead so he could have his wife. At the time of the mission, Sergeant Dave was ordered to kill Major Aegon, but he survived. Now he must kill Aegon, or he will be a dead man. Aegon stayed in his brother's apartment, who was out of the country. He was ambushed when he heard some creepy movement. Aegon found out everything from Dave about his wife's whereabouts and Colonel Bello's intentions to get married to his wife. Dave thinks it's just okay for him to know the truth before he dies. He wouldn't want to shoot him again, but dying slowly while tied up with a chair in the fire is preferable for causing him much stress. Things like this happen even in the midst of death, when it's yet not your time. Regina found her way in with the address Aegon gave her, and she was his savior for the second time. But could this be the end?